Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. My name is Leon Jones, and this evening I got another news story for you. In fact, on this channel, I'm just going to start doing news. When I get the audience participation, then I will go to putting the panels up. I might even take a news clip and I will discuss it over a panel. But right now, just want you to enjoy this pre-recorded video, and I'm just going to produce news right now here on the 401 Talk Zone radio show. Now, tonight, about two old mamas. They were involved in the death of a 5-year-old boy. And this is a really gross way that this boy was found. 5-year-old boy was found in a suitcase because they thought the boy was possessed. So without any further ado, let's go to the video. Fair use. Fair use. Fair use. Stop the share. Let's go to this next one, and here we go. All right. Just bear with me as I share my sound. All right, let me go ahead and give you the news first. This is from Washington County, Indiana. Lawyer says charges should be dropped for a woman accused in a boy's death, and the boy was found in a suitcase in my state of Indiana, southern Indiana, Washington County, Indiana. The lawyer for a woman charged in the death of a body of a boy whose body was found in a suitcase. Again, lawyer says charges should be dropped for a woman accused in boy's death. The boy was found in a suitcase in southern Indiana. Now, here's what's happening. The lawyer argues Indiana prosecutors do not have the power to charge Dawn Coleman and Cairo Jordan's murder because it allegedly happened in Kentucky. There's that word again, allegedly. So, in other words, we don't know whether it happened in Indiana or Kentucky. However, what I do know, there was a crime committed. And let's continue. Washington County, Indiana. A lawyer for a woman charged in the death of a boy whose body was found in a suitcase in southern Indiana has filed a motion asking the court to dismiss the case against her. Dawn Coleman, 40 years old, of Louisiana, is charged with aiding, inducing, and causing murder and neglect of a dependent, resulting in the death and obstructing justice. And the death was a 5-year-old boy. Now, prosecutors say, and these are the two women involved. Boy, they look horrible, do they not? They look like hardened criminals. Well, prosecutors say Coleman helped 37-year-old Dawn Coleman Anderson of Atlanta dispose of her 5-year-old son's body in April of 2022. At issue, her lawyer, Ryan Bauer, said, is that Coleman who was charged in Indiana, but the alleged crimes actually happened in Kentucky. Bauer made his argument in a motion to dismiss, and that motion was filed in the Circuit Court of Washington County here in Indiana on February 12th. Not a crime. Cairo Jordan's body was found in a rural, secluded area of Washington County, Indiana, April 2022. Now, it wasn't until November when there was a crack in the case. So investigators identified Cairo as the victim, named Anderson as the murderer, and Coleman as her accomplice. There's 5-year-old Cairo Jordan. Now, documents say Coleman told investigators she walked into the bedroom of the trio's Louisville home and found Anderson on top of Cairo. The boy was face down on a mattress, and Coleman said it was already done. Now, let me stop right there. It was already done. What was already done? Was the boy suffocated? Was the boy already gone? See, we don't know that. However, if the boy was face down on the mattress, and when Coleman said it was already done, she was the one who did it. Let's continue. Coleman said she helped Anderson put Cairo's body. Now, let me go back and correct myself. It wasn't Coleman who did it. It was the mother who did it. The mother is Dawn Coleman. Let me get my facts straight here before I go on. The mother was Dawn Coleman. It was already done. So she had already killed the boy. Now, Coleman said she helped Anderson put Cairo's body in a hard-sided Las Vegas suitcase before they drove across the border into Indiana, where Coleman dumped the suitcase in the woods. Now, here's the suitcase. Here's what it looks like. And of course, here are the individuals. Look at these individuals. Killed a young boy. They talk about mothers getting kids. The question is, where are the fathers? Or where's the father? We don't know. But that's not what this is about. This is about the murder of a young boy. Now, again, because they were still in Kentucky at the time, Bauer argues Indiana prosecutors do not have the power to charge Coleman. So the lawyer said it is not up to Indiana. However, Bauer said the fact that she was charged in Indiana violates Indiana state law. He said it's actually up to the officials in Jefferson County, Kentucky, to decide whether to pursue charges because that's where the crime was allegedly committed. Allegedly. So Bauer wrote that charging information didn't include sufficient detail on the place the crime happened, which is required to prove that it happened within a jurisdiction of the court where the charges were filed. Now, the lawyer also says there was something unconstitutional and there was a lack of evidence. As I move on, Bauer also argued the charges were unconstitutional because they failed to specify the acts that prompted Coleman to be charged. So without specific evidence, he said Coleman is not able to prepare a defense, which violates her 6th and 14th Amendment rights. I'll call for dismissal. Bauer cited an Indiana case that he argues sets precedent requiring that charges against Coleman be dismissed. Now, the case he referenced was Purcell versus State. It says that law that calls for a penalty, of course, in this case, Coleman being charged, must strictly be followed. Now, any ambiguity must be resolved in favor of the person who is accused. So Bauer again says if the court agrees with his argument, the charges should be dropped. Now, if the court doesn't agree with his argument, he wants the court to schedule a hearing to discuss Coleman's charges being dropped. Now, you have Coleman, who was the mother of the boy, but now there was an accomplice named Dawn Anderson. Now, she's the one who, of course, aided and abetted with this murder. Now, she's what I call the traveling person because she's even wanted out there in LA, but we'll get to that in a moment. But the question is, where is Dawn Johnson? Well, members of the San Francisco Police Department Tactical Unit NISP, which stands for Indiana State Police, arrested Coleman on an out-of-state warrant on October 19th in San Francisco. Anderson, on the other hand, remains at large. So, is she a fugitive? Could be. Well, according to court documents, Coleman claims Anderson talked about her son being possessed as they got in the car and then drove to Indiana to dump the suitcase. A felony murder arrest warrant was issued for Anderson in November 2022. Right now, she's currently still missing. Police searched for her in the Los Angeles metropolitan area, but they had no luck finding her. Police said she's known to travel, and in November 2022, police said she had recently been to San Francisco, San Diego, Las Vegas, and Houston. Anderson is about 5 feet 5 inches tall. She weighs 135 pounds. She has short, dark brown hair, and that was in her last photo, which there's a photo right here. She's also been known to wear wigs and hair extensions. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the video. Now, this is from WTHR right here out of my home state of Indiana. Fair use.
Thanks for inviting us
Fair
in.
use.
It is 11 o'clock.
Make sure I got some sound here. And let's roll. Fair use.
And right now there is a manhunt across the country for a mother accused of killing her son, stuffing the boy's body in a suitcase and abandoning it in southern Indiana. Police right now are searching tirelessly for Dawn Anderson. This is a look at her on the screen. This is the woman investigators believe killed Cairo Jordan, but now they want to know how and why this happened. So let's bring in Rachel Krauss. You've been digging through all the new details released today. What have you learned?
Well, after 6 months of searching, state police have finally offered some answers as to what happened to 5-year-old Cairo Jordan. Like you said, we've spent all day combing through this new information. Let's get right to it. State police used fingerprints on trash bags in the suitcase with the child's body inside, linking the crime to the boy's mother, Dawn Anderson, and Dawn Coleman. And data from their cell phones put them in the same area of southern Indiana just 2 days before Cairo's body was found there. A mushroom hunter in the area just happened across the suitcase when he witnessed the horrifying contents inside.
I'm glad I found him and got him out of that situation that he was in and put him in an environment where he can be took care of properly. But I just wish that he was took care of properly before this happened, before they threw him away. Boy, it still bothers me that somebody would have the audacity to throw somebody else away like that piece of trash. I'm sorry, but that tears me up inside, that somebody would have that gall to hurt somebody like that.
Discovery for that man. And police have also revealed some disturbing details about social media posts from both of the women, right?
Yeah, and right now, based on these posts, it looks like both Anderson and Coleman thought that the boy was possessed by demons. Coleman's already under arrest tonight, facing formal charges. Anderson is still on the loose. Last seen in the Los Angeles area, but she also has ties to other cities like San Francisco, San Diego, Las Vegas, and Houston.
So there's this large search that continues underway, at least for this, for the mom.
Yeah, absolutely. And police still pushing very hard to find answers as to really why this happened.
It's such a disturbing case, such heartbreak for that whole family.
Yeah,
Rachel.
absolutely horrifying. But at least now we know his name.
Okay, Rachel, thanks.
Tonight, we've uncovered details about Dawn Anderson's criminal history. March 12th, she was arrested in South Carolina. This is after police say she was driving 92 miles an hour, which is 30 miles above the speed limit there. And she led police on a chase for miles until her car ran out of gas. Now, in the car with her was 5-year-old Cairo and Dawn Coleman. Then on March 31st, she was arrested in Louisville, accused of stealing from a mall and punching a security officer in the face. She was in jail until April 11th, just 5 days before her son's body was found in southern Indiana. We have all the latest information on this investigation, along with the photos of Anderson amid a nationwide manhunt. Just open the WTHR app.
Well, again, she was in jail. Why did they let her out of jail? Now, some of those crimes that she had, could they be misdemeanors? Absolutely. But what I don't get is, and let me apologize. That's Dawn Anderson. I said Dawn Anderson. My mistake. I'm human. This was another incident where mother killed her child. Now, I'm just going to say this. Men and women out there, you need to strap up before you have sex, because there are a number of children who are being killed. I mean, I've seen, shout out to brother Prophet of Thought, kids being driven in a car, Hudson River and the Atlantic Ocean, kids being stuffed in the freezer, kids being shot. Now, we talk about all these other deaths that went on with police brutality. Yes, they're bad, but this is another 5-year-old boy. And I'm not even going to put race out there. You all saw the video. You all know what's going on. But if you don't want children, give them up for adoption. Too many adults out here are just having children irresponsible. And what's happening, a lot of these children grow up and they're not being provided with good structure. That's why they run wild. But for a 5-year-old to say that he was possessed, well, how was he possessed? Maybe it's the environment where he's from. I mean, where's the father of this child? I mean, now Dawn Coleman, that was her child, she's 40 years old. Now Dawn Anderson is still on the loose. I mean, is she that slippery? Did they really want to catch her? Did they have anything on her? Because I'm going to tell you something. If it had been a man, he would have been caught. He would have been under the jail. But see, I have to ask this question. We're the feminists on this issue. You know, if it had been a man and a man killed a woman, you'd see the feminists out there, regardless of race, saying, castrate this man. But should they not be out when one of theirs does wrong? Hypocrisy. Now, this was a 5-year-old boy. Question number 2. Where's Black Lives Matter? This was a black boy. Does his life matter? Is he going to get the same type of burial that George Floyd got? Now, I'm not making this into a racial issue, but I have to ask those questions. Now, the word alleged, okay, that area. Was he killed in Kentucky or was he killed in Indiana? I hear that word alleged. Either way, 5-year-old boy was murdered and stuffed in a suitcase. The bottom line is these 2 women did it. And I don't hear anything about this story. Yes, it's a local story, but just like Tyree Nichols, and just like that young girl Robinson, these stories will come and go because they're not newsworthy, especially when blacks kill each other. Now, this was a case where a mother killed her son. And she said her son was possessed. Maybe she was possessed. This is another case of these old mamas. Shout out to Teapot. But in the end, a 5-year-old boy was dead. He was put in a suitcase. And the act was very malicious. And you have one of the accessories missing, on the run. And there's a nationwide manhunt for her. But how long is it going to take to convict both of these women? You know how the justice system is. It's not fair. But in the end, tell me what you think about this story. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you are looking for some STEM content, check out my second channel, the QCIS channel. On that channel, you get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and of course, math. Now, if you cannot find the 411 Talk Zone radio show or the QCIS channel on YouTube, you can check both of those channels out on Twitter. Now for the QCIS channel, I take it one step further since it's an educational channel. I also find that channel on my LinkedIn page. And in the end, be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Always know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you don't like the shoe, change it. Once again, thank you for listening to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show right here on YouTube. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. I want you all to have a wonderful and gracious evening. God bless you. I'm out.